Stealth, the technique studied by many but mastered by few, and today we are pinning two of video game's most stealthiest combatants to see which one is better at taking you out from the shadows. If you are a criminal, you do not want to come across these two in the black of night. Batman, Gotham's Dark Knight, and Solid Snake, the legendary soldier. Quick disclaimer to get this out the way, the version of Batman I will be using for the purpose of this fight will be Batman from the Arkham games, as there are too many variants of Batman from the comics to the point where it will just be impossible to get a pinpoint accurate version of Batman with a continuous canonical streak of comic books. And no, I'm not joking. I 100% dare anyone to find me a canonical streak of Batman comics that do not cross over into completely different sets of continuity. And of course for Snake, we will be using him from his own games in the Metal Gear franchise. Also for Batman, I will only be using him from Arkham Origins, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Knight, the DLCs, and some of the comic books that tie into the games, but I will not be using Batman from Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. Before anyone says in the comments, no, not for petty reasons, like because I want to depower him. No, 1, it completely ruined his character. 2, it was an insult to the legend of Kevin Conroy, literally killing off his character in the most pathetic way I've ever seen in my life. And 3, the game was absolute hot garbage. I am not using a hot garbage game to give Batman any sort of stats. I do not care if anyone in Warner Brothers or the fan base tries to say it's canon. No, the hell it is not. Anything disrespectful to the legacy Kevin Conroy left behind is not canon. I don't care. Go argue with a wall. And as for Snake, I will only be using Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 4, and technically Metal Gear Solid 3, Peace Walker, Ground Zeroes, Phantom Pain, as technically speaking Snake does have connections to the other Snakes in the storyline. With that out of the way, you already know about these characters, you've come to watch this fight, you already know who they are, let's get into this. As always, we start with strength, and instantly, this is not in Batman's favor. At best, in terms of overall strength, Batman is at peak human physicality. You could argue he has similar levels of strength to his comic book counterpart, being able to bench 1,000 pounds, as he can lift full-grown men over his body with minimal effort. He can even drag bodies around as if it's nothing, and he's able to beat down venom injected thugs who are able to break through walls with no effort. So he has peak human lifting strength and small building level striking abilities. Now without his enhanced suit, he has the same level in terms of durability, but with the enhanced suit, he gets to building plus level durability with his armor. He can also take a beating from a lot of different types of injuries and attacks. But that hails in comparison to Snake. Snake is said to be much stronger than the person he is based off, which is Big Boss. And during the events of Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, Big Boss battled a Metal Gear-like machine known as Cocoon. And based on this machine's size, based on height, width, length, and composition of materials, the machine can weigh up to 9.5 million kilograms, or about 9,500 tons. And this machine tried to drop its entire weight onto Big Boss, but instead of being crushed, somehow Big Boss, a human being, managed to catch that sort of weight. And this machine tried dropping all of its collective weight from about 20 feet in the air. And an object with that much weight falling that fast in the span of like a second could have on average an impact force of well over 16 meganewtons, which would be enough force to level multiple large buildings. And Snake is 2 times stronger than Big Boss, meaning he can lift the collective weight of well over 18,000 tons. If you were to convert that back to kilograms, Snake would be 18 million times stronger than Batman. Now in terms of striking strength, we can find this out from Metal Gear Solid 4. During his fight with Ocelot, Ocelot punched Outer Haven, the giant boat in which they're standing on, and Outer Haven was able to survive multiple ballistic missiles from 2008 United States military battleships. Those ballistic missiles have enough power to destroy a building of almost any size, and they weren't even leaving a scratch on Outer Haven, yet Ocelot punched it and left a fucking dent. Meaning bare minimum, his punch had 3 times the amount of force, making his striking strength multi-building level to city block level. Snake was not only taking these sorts of blows every time they were hitting each other, but he was matching those blows. Hideo Kojima himself says Snake in his prime is a bare minimum 2 times stronger than he is when he's old. Meaning Snake in his prime, aka Metal Gear Solid 2 Snake, can hit with twice the force, which is either multi-city block level to possibly city level, and that's just his striking strength. And if you think Batman is able to hurt Snake, don't bother, his durability is far superior. Not only did he survive a hallway built like a giant microwave in Metal Gear Solid 4 while he was old, 4 minutes straight, he could do that either 2 times easier or 2 times longer in his prime. So yeah, I'm sorry, but Snake is physically stronger and more durable in every way in comparison to Batman. Batman's speed is very debatable of where it actually is, but we can comfortably put it at subsonic plus, given the fact that he can dodge various missile fire, and at absolute best you can maybe get him to relativistic with the fact that Catwoman managed to dodge a bolt of lightning, and Batman is supposed to be faster than Catwoman bare minimum. This hails in comparison to Snake. Not only has Snake dodged missiles before like Batman, he has straight up jumped on top of them like he's freaking Mario, and he has dodged military grade lasers, which gives him light speed reaction time. Plus he has anywhere from peak human to superhuman levels of running speed, so Snake wins again. Now in terms of fighting skills, you could argue they're practically even in many ways given the fact they're both considered masters of martial arts, but I would argue Snake might be better in terms of a close range battle. Batman has dealt with a multitude of different fighting styles before, so I think fighting styles could actually be considered even. If I were to argue who has the slight edge, I would maybe say Snake, but there could be potential arguments for Batman. Now if we go over the weapons slash gadgets, there's a huge issue. 90% of Batman's gadgets are all electronical based, and Snake has a grenade that could basically shut them off. And no, it's not an EMP, it's the chaff grenade. It basically disrupts all electronical and radio based signals by having small electronical sparks fly through the air, disrupting all forms of technology. It would render 90% of Batman's gear, especially optical gear, which means all of his detective vision abilities he has in the games, will not work against Snake, as they will be completely shut off, which has happened before with radio disrupting machines within the Arkham universe itself. But this chaff grenade works on a much higher scale than those giant backpacks of weirdness. To mention, Batman's best way of handling Snake in terms of lethality is his electric gun and electric shock gauntlets. How ridiculously strong Snake is, I don't think Batman's glue and freeze grenades are going to do anything. Even if you wanted to argue Batman could disrupt or completely shut off most of Snake's guns, his weapon disruptor, huge issue. That thing does not stop every form of firearms, meaning Snake can easily use weapons such as his Nikita missile launcher, his Stinger missile launcher, his grenade launcher, his RPG, and all of his multitude of grenades, and even his claymores and C4. And if you think Batman's shock gun or shock gauntlets are going to hurt Snake, yeah, don't bother. Snake literally survived being tortured for like minutes straight by Ocelot's torture machine, which gave him a voltage of well over 1 million. The worst it did was make his arm a little bit numb, and we know based on not only the cutscenes but gameplay, Batman can't survive every form of firearm, especially explosive types. Plus, Snake has a weapon of his own that could instantly outmatch Batman's electronical equipment. He has his stun knife, which works kind of like a taser knife. Now the average it gives is about a good couple thousand, much like a regular taser. However, Snake can change the voltage on it to be over 5 million, which is more than anything Batman has ever been able to survive. He flinches at an electrical generator in a pool of water. So weapons and gadgets definitely go in Snake's favor. Now technically speaking, both of them have the weakness of being able to be killed by almost any form of weaponry, especially guns. Like a bullet can kill both of these people if it's a well-placed shot like the head. So let's go over their mental weaknesses. Snake actually doesn't have any. He has a very strong mental will, able to even resist mind reading and mind control. And while Batman has contemplated killing people, he almost can never bring himself to fully do it, and is it seems that the more fear toxin or mental strain he goes through, the more chances he has of being taken over by someone like the Joker. Sure, he eventually pushed him back into his subconscious, but the fact that the Joker almost took over Batman's mind and made him mentally think of killing someone, even though Batman normally doesn't have the stomach to do it, definitely brings up a huge mental willpower problem, whereas Snake does not have that problem. He will kill anyone if the mission states he has to do it, or if he believes the person needs to die. And that is the biggest deciding factor of this battle. Batman will be trying to constantly incapacitate Snake, whereas Snake will be going for the kill. Now with their overall scaling, Batman gets to large building level at best, whereas Snake on the low end is multi-city block level, and could even have continental level attack potency, with the fact that his standard weapons manage to completely destroy or incapacitate Metal Gears, and these machines are built to survive a nuclear apocalypse, and he can either straight up destroy or make them near inoperable to use. So yeah, I'm sorry to say this, Batman fans of the Arkham series, even if you gave an extra point to Batman by being slightly more intelligent than Snake, but not by a lot, if I'm being honest, the only point Batman gets is being equal to Snake in terms of hand-to-hand combat. But in terms of strength, speed, powers and abilities, durability and armor, weapons and gadgets, and having the less problematic weakness and better scaling, the winner of this fight is Solid Snake, which is a bit of a shocker. I know Batman is the savior of Gotham and the world's greatest detective, but Snake is the savior of the world, the greatest soldier who ever lived, and is the man who makes the impossible possible. So to answer the question of who will win between Arkham Batman and Snake from Metal Gear, the winner is Solid Snake. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to join the Hedgehog Saiyan Nation today. Got a suggestion? Leave it in the comments below, or join my Discord so you can talk to me about it, or any other fights you are interested in hearing my opinion on, or just sharing your opinion on certain fights. Whatever it may be, you can talk to me. And with that being said, stay awesome, and as always, a Dragon Fist. Hiya!